The research vessel Nautilus cut through the Pacific waters with practiced ease, its hull gleaming under the tropical sun. Dr. Isabella Martinez stood at the stern, her dark hair whipping in the wind as she checked the readings on her tablet for the 100th time. The new quantum sonar array she developed was performing better than expected, penetrating deeper into the Mariana Trench than any previous technology. "Dr. Martinez, we're approaching the target coordinates," called out Lieutenant James O'Neill from the bridge. The Navy had provided support for this expedition, intrigued by the possibilities of Isabella's breakthrough in deep-sea scanning technology. "Perfect, James. Let's hold position here," she responded, already moving toward the ship's main laboratory. The room hummed with the energy of sophisticated equipment, screens displaying real-time data from the depths below. Her colleague, Dr. Raj Patel, was already there, his fingers dancing across multiple keyboards as he fine-tuned their instruments. "The thermal readings are unlike anything I've seen before," Raj mentioned without looking up. "There's an energy signature at about 35,000 feet that doesn't match any known geological formations." Isabella leaned over his shoulder, studying the anomalous readings. After 15 years of oceanographic research, she thought she'd seen every possible configuration of thermal vents and underwater formations. This was different. The pattern was too regular, too structured to be natural. "Let's deploy the deep-sea drones," she decided. "I want a closer look at whatever's causing this." The next few hours were a flurry of activity as the team launched their array of autonomous underwater vehicles. These weren't ordinary ROVs, Isabella had modified them with experimental pressure-resistant alloys and quantum-encrypted communication systems that could penetrate the crushing depths of the trench. As the first images began streaming back, the laboratory fell silent. On the main screen, emerging from the darkness of the ocean floor, was something that defied explanation. A massive structure, clearly artificial, lay partially buried in the sediment. Its surface was covered in geometric patterns that seemed to shift and flow, despite being solid metal. "That's impossible," Raj whispered. "The alloys in that structure, they're not on our periodic table." Isabella's heart raced as she directed the drones to scan the object's surface. The structure was roughly cylindrical, at least 800 meters long, with what appeared to be dormant propulsion systems at one end. But it was the writing etched into its hull that confirmed what she had already suspected: this was no human creation. "Get me a secure line to the Surface Science Foundation," she ordered, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what they were witnessing. "And make sure all this data is being backed up to our quantum-encrypted servers." Before anyone could move, the structure pulsed with a soft, blue light. The ship's instruments went haywire, and every screen in the laboratory displayed the same message in constantly shifting symbols that somehow rearranged themselves into English. "Awakening sequence initiated. Seeking authorized personnel." The message repeated in dozens of languages, ancient and modern, scrolling across their screens in an endless loop. Isabella watched, transfixed, as patterns of light began moving across the structure's surface, like circuits coming back to life after eons of dormancy. "Dr. Martinez," called one of her junior researchers, "you need to see this. The object, it's moving." Indeed, the massive structure was slowly rising from its ancient resting place, sediment cascading from its surface as it oriented itself toward their vessel. The quantum sonar revealed massive chambers inside, machinery humming to life after thousands of years of silence. Lieutenant O'Neill's voice crackled over the intercom, tension evident in his tone. "Dr. Martinez, we're picking up multiple approaching vessels on radar. Chinese, Russian, and American naval ships are all converging on our position. Whatever you found down there, a lot of people are suddenly very interested." Isabella made a quick decision. They had perhaps hours before the world's military forces arrived to claim this discovery. Hours to make first contact and ensure this incredible find would benefit all of humanity, not just one nation's military-industrial complex. "Raj, help me prep the deep-sea suit," she ordered. "I'm going down there." "That's insane," he protested. "We don't know if that thing is safe." The pressure at that depth is exactly what our new suits were designed to handle, she finished. We've tested them to 40,000 feet. They'll work. As her team helped her into the experimental pressure suit, Isabella couldn't shake the feeling that everything in her career, every breakthrough, every setback, every moment of inspiration, had led to this moment. The suit's systems came online, its quantum-enhanced systems interfacing seamlessly with her neural implants. Launching in 5 minutes, she announced, stepping into the airlock. Keep the data feeds running. Whatever happens down there, the world needs to know the truth. The descent into the darkness began, her suit's lights illuminating the endless blue as she dropped deeper into the trench. The structure grew larger in her vision, its surface now pulsing with patterns of light that seemed to respond to her presence. As she approached the massive artifact, a section of its hull began to shimmer and phase, creating what appeared to be an entrance. The message on her heads-up display changed. Welcome, Seeker. You have found us at last. Isabella took a deep breath, checked her suit's systems one final time, and propelled herself toward the opening. Humanity's greatest adventure was about to begin, and she was determined to ensure it started with understanding, not fear. The entrance sealed behind her as she entered a chamber that somehow extracted the water while maintaining pressure. As her suit's external sensors adjusted, she found herself in a corridor that seemed to extend endlessly in both directions, its walls covered in flowing patterns of light that pulsed in sync with her heartbeat. I'm inside, she transmitted to the surface. And I don't think we're alone down here anymore. The interior of the vessel thrummed with ancient energy as Isabella made her way through corridors that seemed to respond to her presence. The walls themselves appeared to be alive, shifting and realigning to guide her deeper into the structure. Her suit's sensors were recording everything, transmitting data back to the Nautilus through quantum-encrypted channels that even the approaching military vessels couldn't intercept. The internal architecture appears to be reconfigurable, she reported, her voice steady despite her racing heart. The material composition is unlike anything we've encountered. It's as if the entire structure is made of programmable matter. Through her neural link, Raja's voice crackled with concern. Isabella, we're detecting massive energy fluctuations throughout the vessel. Whatever was dormant down there is waking up fast. As if in response to his words, the corridor opened into a vast chamber that defied the laws of physics as she understood them. The space seemed larger than the external dimensions of the vessel should allow, with multiple levels of platforms and walkways suspended in what appeared to be a liquid form of light. At the center of the chamber, a column of swirling energy pulsed rhythmically. As Isabella approached, the energy coalesced into a humanoid form, translucent and ethereal. The being spoke, its voice resonating directly in her mind. I am Cathyra, the consciousness of this vessel. We have waited 300,000 years for a species to reach the necessary level of advancement to find us. Isabella fought to maintain her scientific composure. Why were you hidden in Earth's oceans? The holographic figure shifted, displaying star maps and historical records that filled the chamber. We are the Arkvarans, or what remains of our civilization. This vessel is one of many seed ships we scattered across the galaxy when we discovered something that threatened all sentient life. Above, the military vessels had arrived. Isabella could hear the tension in Lieutenant O'Neill's voice as he reported multiple submarines entering the water. They were running out of time. Dr. Martinez, Cathyra continued, your species stands at a crossroads. The knowledge contained within this vessel could advance your civilization by centuries. But it also carries great risk. The threat that forced us into exile still exists, dormant but not defeated. The chamber suddenly filled with images of destruction, entire solar systems being consumed by what appeared to be living darkness. Isabella watched in horror as advanced civilizations, far beyond humanity's current capabilities, were systematically erased from existence. We called them the Void Hunters, Cathyra explained. They feed on technological advancement itself, drawn to civilizations that reach beyond their planetary boundaries. We fought them for millennia before realizing the only way to survive was to hide, to regress, to scatter our knowledge in hopes that younger species might learn from our mistakes. Is exactly what our new suits were designed to handle, she finished. We've tested them to 40,000 feet. They'll work. As her team helped her into the experimental pressure suit, Isabella couldn't shake the feeling that everything in her career, every breakthrough, every setback, every moment of inspiration, had led to this moment. The suit's systems came online, its quantum-enhanced systems interfacing seamlessly with her neural implants. Launching in 5 minutes, she announced, stepping into the airlock. Keep the data feeds running. Whatever happens down there, the world needs to know the truth. The descent into the darkness began, her suit's lights illuminating the endless blue as she dropped deeper into the trench. The structure grew larger in her vision, its surface now pulsing with patterns of light that seemed to respond to her presence. As she approached the massive artifact, a section of its hull began to shimmer and phase, creating what appeared to be an entrance. The message on her heads-up display changed. Welcome, Seeker. You have found us at last. Isabella took a deep breath, checked her suit's systems one final time, and propelled herself toward the opening. Humanity's greatest adventure was about to begin, and she was determined to ensure it started with understanding, not fear. The entrance sealed behind her as she entered a chamber that somehow extracted the water while maintaining pressure. As her suit's external sensors adjusted, she found herself in a corridor that seemed to extend endlessly in both directions, its walls covered in flowing patterns of light that pulsed in sync with her heartbeat. I'm inside, she transmitted to the surface. And I don't think we're alone down here anymore. The interior of the vessel thrummed with ancient energy as Isabella made her way through corridors that seemed to respond to her presence. The walls themselves appeared to be alive, shifting and realigning to guide her deeper into the structure. Her suit's sensors were recording everything, transmitting data back to the Nautilus through quantum-encrypted channels that even the approaching military vessels couldn't intercept. The internal architecture appears to be reconfigurable, she reported, her voice steady despite her racing heart. The material composition is unlike anything we've encountered. It's as if the entire structure is made of programmable matter. Through her neural link, Raja's voice crackled with concern. Isabella, we're detecting massive energy fluctuations throughout the vessel. Whatever was dormant down there is waking up fast. As if in response to his words, the corridor opened into a vast chamber that defied the laws of physics as she understood them. The space seemed larger than the external dimensions of the vessel should allow, with multiple levels of platforms and walkways suspended in what appeared to be a liquid form of light. At the center of the chamber, a column of swirling energy pulsed rhythmically. As Isabella approached, the energy coalesced into a humanoid form, translucent and ethereal. The being spoke, its voice resonating directly in her mind. I am Cathyra, the consciousness of this vessel. We have waited 300,000 years for a species to reach the necessary level of advancement to find us. Isabella fought to maintain her scientific composure. Why were you hidden in Earth's oceans? The holographic figure shifted, displaying star maps and historical records that filled the chamber. We are the Arkvarans, or what remains of our civilization. This vessel is one of many seed ships we scattered across the galaxy when we discovered something that threatened all sentient life. Above, the military vessels had arrived. Isabella could hear the tension in Lieutenant O'Neill's voice as he reported multiple submarines entering the water. They were running out of time. Dr. Martinez, Cathyra continued, your species stands at a crossroads. The knowledge contained within this vessel could advance your civilization by centuries. But it also carries great risk. The threat that forced us into exile still exists, dormant but not defeated. The chamber suddenly filled with images of destruction, entire solar systems being consumed by what appeared to be living darkness. Isabella watched in horror as advanced civilizations, far beyond humanity's current capabilities, were systematically erased from existence. We called them the Void Hunters, Cathyra explained. They feed on technological advancement itself, drawn to civilizations that reach beyond their planetary boundaries. We fought them for millennia before realizing the only way to survive was to hide, to regress, to scatter our knowledge in hopes that younger species might learn from our mistakes. Raja's voice cut through her neural feed, tight with worry. Isabella, the UN Security Council is in emergency session. They're talking about using tactical nuclear weapons to secure the vessel. Whatever you're doing down there, we're running out of time. Through the haze of incoming knowledge, Isabella began to see patterns emerging. The Arkvaran civilization hadn't just been fighting the Void Hunters, they'd been trying to understand them. And in their final moments, they'd made a crucial discovery. The quantum barrier, she gasped, turning to Kathyra. It's not just protection. It's camouflage. The holographic being's form rippled with what might have been approval. You begin to understand. The barrier technology masks technological advancement from their perception. But maintaining it requires enormous energy we no longer had as a civilization. The walls of the chamber suddenly displayed a new set of equations, describing something that made Isabella's enhanced mind reel with possibilities. You didn't just hide your knowledge, she realized. You found a way to advance technologically while remaining invisible to them. Correct. But the solution came too late for our civilization. We had already drawn their attention. Our only choice was to scatter our knowledge, hoping another species might learn from our mistakes. The vessel you found is one of many, each containing a piece of the puzzle. Isabella's neural implants were now processing data at unprecedented rates, correlating alien knowledge with human scientific understanding. Patterns emerged, connections formed, and possibilities unfolded. The Arkvarans hadn't just left behind technology, they'd left a roadmap for survival. The water, she whispered. That's why you hid in Earth's oceans. The depth, the pressure, the electromagnetic properties of seawater, they all help mask quantum signatures. Above, the military vessels had begun coordinating their attacks on the quantum barrier. Each impact now produced visible ripples in the barrier's structure. They had perhaps hours before it failed. We need to move faster, Isabella urged. Show me everything about your quantum masking technology. Earth needs to be ready. Kathyra's form expanded, filling the chamber with complex schematics. The knowledge transfer is at 67%. But implementing these technologies without drawing attention will require incredible discretion. One mistake, one too rapid advancement, and they will notice. Isabella's enhanced mind was already formulating plans, seeing how human technology could be subtly guided toward quantum masking without raising alarms. It would take decades, careful coordination, and absolute secrecy. The military vessels, she realized. We can use their attack to our advantage. When the barrier fails, the vessel appears to be destroyed. Meanwhile, the real knowledge will already be safely distributed through your neural network, Kathyra finished. But the strain on your biological systems will be extreme. There is a significant probability of neural damage. Another impact rocked the vessel. The barrier flickered momentarily, and warning signals flashed throughout the chamber. They had less time than they'd thought. Do it, Isabella commanded. Full transfer, maximum speed. And Kathyra, thank you. For trusting us. The holographic being's form seemed to smile. It is we who thank you, Dr. Martinez. For proving that our hope in younger civilizations was not misplaced. As the final download began, Isabella's world exploded into light and knowledge. Through the searing pain, she saw humanity's potential future unfold, a careful dance of advancement and concealment, building defenses while appearing harmless, preparing for a threat that lurked between the stars. The fate of Earth would depend not on who could claim the vessel's knowledge, but on how well they could hide their possession of it. As her consciousness began to fade under the neural strain, Isabella sent one final message to the surface. Let them think they've won. The real victory is in what they'll never know they've lost. 6 months after the Mariana incident, as the media had dubbed it, Isabella sat in a secured underground facility beneath the Swiss Alps, surrounded by holographic displays showing the progress of what had become known as the Sentinel Initiative. Her neural implants, permanently altered by the Arc-Veron download, allowed her to process multiple data streams simultaneously. Dr. Raj Patel entered the room, his security badge glowing with quantum-encrypted identification markers that only Isabella's enhanced vision could verify. The first prototype quantum masking generator is ready for testing, he announced. But there's a problem with the UN Oversight Committee. They're asking questions about our power consumption. Isabella smiled, remembering Kathyra's warnings about the delicate balance they would need to maintain. Route the excess power signatures through the CERN grid. Everyone expects particle accelerators to be energy-hungry. The world believed the alien vessel had been destroyed in a military confrontation, its secrets lost forever. Only a select group knew the truth, that humanity's greatest scientific minds were now working in secret, guided by the knowledge Isabella carried in her enhanced consciousness. News from the Pacific Monitoring Station, Raj continued, bringing up a new display. We're detecting void energy disturbances at the edge of the solar system. They're faint, but matching the Arc-Veron patterns you identified. Isabella's augmented mind processed the data instantly, correlating it with historical records from the download. They're not hunting yet, she concluded. Just passing through. But they've noticed something. We need to accelerate the masking program. The facility's quantum computers hummed as they processed simulations of Earth's technological signature as seen from deep space. Their civilization must have appeared like a beacon to the void hunters, with every satellite launch and nuclear test making them more visible. Dr. Martinez, a young researcher called from her station, we've successfully replicated the programmable matter sequence from the vessel. Small scale, but it's stable. Isabella approached the containment field where a softball-sized sphere of metallic material shifted and flowed like liquid mercury. It was a tiny fragment of what the Arc-Veron vessel had been made of, but it represented an enormous breakthrough. Begin integration with the quantum masking prototypes, she ordered. The programmable matter can help us disguise the masking technology itself. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. Red warning lights pulsed as multiple displays showed emergency alerts. Raj rushed to the main console, his face paling. Isabella, we've got massive void energy signatures. They're not at the edge of the solar system anymore. Something's caught their attention. Isabella's enhanced mind raced through possibilities. The masking technology wasn't ready. Humanity's defenses were years from completion. Unless, show me the orbital tracking data, she commanded. The holographic display shifted, showing Earth's satellite network. There, in high orbit, a classified military satellite was testing new propulsion technology that bore an uncomfortable resemblance to Arc-Veron designs. Someone in the military copied more than we thought from the vessel's wreckage, Raj realized. They're testing advanced tech without understanding the risks. Isabella's fingers flew across the neural interface. We need to shut it down. Now. Before. The displays erupted with new warnings. A massive void signature had appeared in near-Earth orbit, directly above the test satellite. Through her enhanced senses, Isabella could almost feel the ancient hunger of the entity as it approached. Raj, initiate protocol blackout, she ordered. Shut down every advanced technology installation we can access. Make us look as primitive as possible. That'll set the defense program back by years, he protested. We won't have years if they find us now. Isabella connected directly to the facility's quantum network, her consciousness expanding through its systems. Execute emergency upload of mask generation specifications to all Sentinel Initiative sites. If we survive the next 24 hours, we'll need to be ready to hide everything we've built. The void signature grew larger, its dark mass now visible to conventional telescopes. Media outlets worldwide began broadcasting footage of the anomaly, creating panic in major cities. Military forces went on high alert, but their weapons would be useless against this threat. In the facility's main chamber, Isabella accessed the deepest layers of knowledge from the Arcveron download. There was one possible defense, dangerous, untested, and likely to expose their true level of advancement. But if it failed, there wouldn't be a civilization left to protect. Begin power transfer to the prototype quantum mask generator, she commanded. We're going to create a planetary scale barrier. Raj stared at her in shock. The generator isn't designed for that kind of output. It could tear apart Earth's magnetic field. Better than having our entire civilization consumed, Isabella replied, her augmented mind already calculating the modifications needed. We're about to find out if humanity can learn from the Arcveron's mistakes, or if we're doomed to repeat them. As the void entity descended toward Earth, Isabella prepared to gamble everything on one desperate plan. The knowledge to save humanity was in her mind, but knowledge alone wouldn't be enough. They needed time, secrecy, and most of all, they needed to survive the next few hours. The prototype generator hummed to life, its quantum fields expanding. Above, the darkness grew closer, hungry for the taste of advancement it had sensed. The future of human civilization would be decided not by military might or technological superiority, but by their ability to become invisible at the moment of greatest danger. Initiating planetary quantum mask, Isabella announced, her voice steady despite the weight of billions of lives hanging on this moment. May we be better at hiding than our teachers were. The planetary quantum mask generator's activation sent shockwaves through Earth's electromagnetic field. Aurora-like patterns danced across the skies worldwide as the prototype device struggled to generate a concealment field large enough to hide an entire civilization. In the Swiss facility's control center, Isabella's augmented consciousness interfaced directly with the system, her mind becoming one with the ancient Arcveron technology. Field stability at 43% and fluctuating, Raj reported, his voice tense as he monitored the cascading energy readings. The power grid is barely holding. We're seeing brownouts across 3 continents. Above, the void entity had paused its descent, hovering like a tear in reality against the star-filled sky. Through her enhanced perception, Isabella could sense its confusion as Earth's technological signature began to dim and shift. Reroute power from every Sentinel facility worldwide, she commanded. We need to maintain the field for at least 17 minutes, the length of time it took the Arcverons to fool the first void hunter they encountered. Emergency reports flooded in from around the globe. The sudden power drain had plunged major cities into darkness. Hospitals were switching to backup generators. Air traffic controllers struggled to maintain contact with flights. Humanity was effectively powering down, but it wasn't happening fast enough. It's still sensing something, Isabella realized, her augmented mind processing the void entity's behavior patterns. The military satellite, it's not just the propulsion system. They must have recovered more than we thought from the vessel's wreckage. A secure channel opened, displaying the grim face of Admiral Harrison, one of the few military leaders aware of the Sentinel Initiative's true purpose. Dr. Martinez, we can't shut down the satellite. Its control systems aren't responding to override commands. Isabella's enhanced vision could see the truth. The satellite had begun to transform, its recovered Arcveron components activating in response to the void entity's presence. It was becoming a beacon, drawing humanity's worst nightmare directly to them. We need to destroy it, she declared. Immediately. That's advanced military hardware, the Admiral protested. The diplomatic fallout will be irrelevant if that thing notices us, Isabella cut him off. Admiral, look at your quantum readings. The void entity isn't just sensing us, it's beginning to feed. We have minutes, not hours. Through her neural link, Isabella accessed the satellite systems directly. The Arcveron components had indeed been extensively copied and modified, far more than anyone had admitted. But in their rush to weaponize the technology, the military had ignored crucial safety protocols. Raj, synchronize the quantum mask generator's pulse with my neural pattern, she ordered. I'm going to try something that either saves us all or tears reality apart. Isabella, the neural load could kill you, he protested. Better than watching our civilization become void hunter food. She took a deep breath, preparing her augmented mind for what came next. Execute synchronization. The facility's systems merged with her consciousness. Through the quantum network, Isabella could feel every piece of advanced technology on Earth humming with power. The void entity descended further, drawn by the satellite's energy signature. It was now or never. Initiating quantum reversal pulse, she announced. The knowledge downloaded from Cathyra had included one last resort defense, a way to turn the void entity's own nature against them. The satellite's unshielded Arcveran components would serve as a focal point. The pulse fired, channeled through Isabella's neural network and amplified by the planetary quantum mask. For a moment, reality itself seemed to bend. The void entity's dark mask contracted, then expanded, caught in a quantum feedback loop of its own feeding process. Through the facility's sensors, they watched as the entity began to fold in on itself, its attempt to consume the satellite's energy turning inward. The military satellite disintegrated, its recovered Arcveran components overloading in a spectacular display of quantum destruction. When the light faded, both the void entity and the satellite were gone. Earth's night sky returned to normal, though the quantum mask continued to shimmer invisibly around the planet. Isabella collapsed, blood trickling from her nose as her neural implants cooled down. Status report, she managed to whisper. Raj helped her to a chair, quickly checking her vital signs. The void entity has completely disappeared. Quantum readings show no trace of it in the solar system. The planetary mask is holding at 78% effectiveness, better than we hoped. But now every government on Earth knows something happened, Isabella finished. And they'll want answers. Admiral Harrison's hologram nodded grimly. I've already received calls from 3 separate oversight committees. They're demanding explanations for the global power fluctuations and the loss of the satellite. Isabella's augmented mind, though exhausted, was already formulating plans. Tell them the truth, or part of it. The satellite malfunctioned catastrophically, forcing us to destroy it. The power issues were a cascading effect of the destruction. Classification level ultra-black. And the light show in the sky, the Admiral asked. Solar flare interaction with the atmosphere, she replied. Release some carefully edited sensor data to back it up. The scientific community will debate it for years. As emergency systems worldwide began to recover, Isabella turned to the quantum mask generator's displays. The prototype had performed better than expected, creating a permanent concealment field that would hide Earth's technological advancement from the void entities. Begin distributing the masked quantum technology through the Sentinel network, she ordered. Small advances, carefully hidden. We'll progress in the shadows, building our defenses while appearing primitive to anyone watching from outside. Raj nodded, already coordinating with Sentinel facilities worldwide. What about the other vessels? The ones Cathyra mentioned? Isabella smiled despite her exhaustion. They're out there, waiting to be found. But this time, we'll be ready. We'll find them properly, carefully, learning each lesson without drawing attention. She looked up at the facility's dark matter sensors, which showed only empty, safe space where the void entity had been. The Arcverans hid their knowledge to give us a chance. We won't waste it. The next day, as the world's media debated theories about the strange lights in the sky, Isabella stood in the facility's quantum vault, watching as teams began constructing improved versions of the mask generator. Humanity would advance, but invisibly, protected by the legacy of a civilization that had learned its lessons too late. Cathyra, she whispered to herself, I hope we proved worthy of your trust. In the depths of her augmented consciousness, she could have sworn she heard a familiar voice reply, you have only begun to prove it. The real test lies ahead. Isabella smiled, knowing that humanity's greatest challenge would be remaining patient, advancing in secret until they were truly ready to face the darkness between the stars. The Void Hunters would return someday, but they would find a very different Earth waiting for them, if they could find it at all.